Joining us now to discuss this and other topics, former Heisman Trophy winner, NFL All-Pro, and the author of the new book, The Making of a Man, Tim Brown. Tim Brown, it is an honor to have you today here on America's Forum.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored to be here.
Well, Tim, you cover the sport still as on Sirius XM radio. Do these new allegations come as a surprise to you?
Oh, absolutely not. This has been a big problem going on for years. In '04, when my good friend Reggie White passed away, he had some issues. Forget the name of the lung disease that he had, but we all felt that it was part of the anti-inflammatories that he was taking. In fact, if you look from 2004 to today, we've had close to 75 players to die before the age of 50, and they're all dying of sudden type heart attacks situation. My good friend Chester McLaughlin, 19 years we were best buds, and at 42 years of age, in 2011, he passed away of a sudden heart attack in his sleep. So, and we all feel this because of all the meds that we took during the time we played. And then once guys retire, well, your body don't get better, so you have to maintain taking these things. And when you're not working out and doing some of the things that you were doing when you were playing, these kind of tragic things can happen. So it doesn't surprise me. This is going to be a huge problem for the NFL. The only way they're going to get out of this is if they can, say, hey, look, too much time has expired or whatever. But as far as them being liable, obviously they're the ones giving out the inflammatories and all those things. So it's going to be a problem.
So, Tim, I have to ask you, and then I want to get to the book, but your situation now away from football, are you still having problems? What do you do in terms of your personal health regimen to stay in shape and try to alleviate the injuries that inevitably come from all the football you played?
Yeah, the first time I even thought about having some issues, I don't know if you recall back in 2001, 2002 when Alonzo Mourning had all the problems, ended up having to have a kidney replacement because of all the anti-inflammatories that he had taken. And I started in 1989. I tore my knee up in that year, and they told me, hey, look, you got to take an anti-inflammatory every day, probably for the rest of your life. So from that time until 2002, I took an anti-inflammatory every day. I did not miss a day, off season or not. And sometimes the night before a game, I would take two, just depending on how my body felt. So, but that scared me to death when I heard that about Alonzo. So I tried to cut back, but when you're practicing, I wasn't getting any younger in the league. So you had to keep doing what you were doing. So in 2004, when I discovered this company that makes all natural products. So fortunately for me, I have not taken an anti-inflammatory or Advil or anything of that nature since I left the game in 2005. But it doesn't mean my body doesn't ache. But these all natural products are helping me to get along, and I just don't want to do any more damage to my body than I did, during those 17 years of playing in the NFL.
Well, Tim, your life obviously is longer than 17 years, yet a lot of the outside world tends to define people, especially pro football players, by their time in the league. Reading your book, The Making of a Man, It is a very revealing book about your life, and I don't mean that in sensational terms, but just
Sure.
straightforward, honest book. What inspired you to sit down, put pen to paper, and write this book?
Well, towards the end of my career, I got a lot of folks coming up to me basically telling me how much they admired the way that I was handling myself off the field with all the success I was having, and how they never heard my name in a negative way and things of that nature. And certainly when I retired, I got a lot of the same things. People, would come up to me. I'm hoping they would be reminiscing about some play, and they're telling me, hey, you handle yourself off the field. So over the last couple of years, I just really wanted people to know that I am not some special extraterrestrial being that was sitting down from Pluto someplace. But the reason why, I've been able to keep my name out of the limelight in those negative ways is because I decided, at 28, 29 years of age, that I was going to follow the principles of the Bible and God's principles, and by doing that, it's kept me in a different side of the road, I guess you could say.
Tim Brown, reading the book, if I could subtitle, I know you have the subtitle, How Men and Boys Honor God and Live with Integrity. There's a personal shorthand that comes to me on this: faith, family, then football. But another F comes into the whole manhood thing, and that's fatherhood. Now, you write honestly in the book of your adolescence and a change in your relationship with your own father that took years to repair. Could you elaborate some on that?
Yeah, my dad and I had an incident at 13 when he came in slightly, intoxicated, and I was up late, so he didn't expect me to be up, and I was sleeping in the family den, and that's where he entered the house. He turned the TV off, and I said, "Hey, Pop, I was watching TV," and I scared him. And his reaction to that was, "Oh, you coming after me?" And so, he threatened to kill me, and I couldn't really, recognize the words that I was hearing from my father. But when he went outside to his car, I thought he was going to get a gun because I know he kept guns in his truck. So that's when I, thought that he was serious, and went to wake my mom up, wake the whole house up, trying to figure out what was going on here. So, and my father, unfortunately, was not a man that, would apologize to you the next day. So instead of, say, man, I had a rough night last night, whatever, his thing was, hey, you're not going to amount to anything, and when you go to jail, and he only had a couple of years of that because, I was making, I was vice president of my junior and senior class, and, I was sports editor of the paper, and, all the sports papers were writing great things about me, get a scholarship to Notre Dame. So that the relationship went totally silent after that, and I was doing all these great things, hoping that this would be the thing that would get my father back. This would be the thing that would get my father back. You win the Heisman, you graduate from college, first-round pick, you make the Pro Bowl, all these things, and nothing was happening. And thankfully, I think spiritually it was just, dropped in my spirit that my father was doing the best that he could do. Not the best that he should be doing, but the best that he could do. And once I recognized that, and not that I felt sorry for him, but I realized I had to meet him meet him where he was.
Exactly, and so it's the biblical principle of forgiveness. We hear in the Scriptures 70 times 7 to forgive is what Jesus said. So you're able to forgive your dad, repair that relationship. Time is running short, Tim Brown. We want to have you back sometime soon, but your new book, The Making of a Man, offers a revealing look at football, at faith, at family, and at forgiveness. We thank you so much for your time. We enjoyed your NFL career, and personally, I enjoyed this book greatly. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you.
And there is more to come now on America's Forum.